will be making one of my favorite clear lip gloss. Yes, it has a yellow tint, but it is still clear. The yellow is based on the oils that I put inside of it. We will be using just a few ingredients to create this formula that feels really nice on the lips and has a nice long-lasting effect. Before we begin, I wanted to put out a disclaimer. I do not have on gloves in this formulation video because I am making this for myself and I did run out of gloves, so I didn't put it on. So if you plan on making this for a family or just for a large group, make sure you have your gloves to just stay safe and clean, and make sure you have gloves. There's also a few ingredients that I would like you to have for this formulation, which is your scale, a mini scale. That would be very important. I don't do drops when it comes on to preservatives, so a nice mini scale will be great to have, and some stirring rods. Once you've gathered all your ingredients, the first thing you want to do is add in your Versagel. So your Versagel is at 64%, which is 9 grams of this formula, and this complete formula is 14 grams, so you're going to add 9 grams of it. For this lip gloss, I am using the TKB Versagel, which is something that I've used before and I liked it, so I said why not go ahead and purchase some more and use it again for this. So let's begin with that. I started off using this small bowl because that's what I usually use to make the lip gloss, especially if I'm making a larger amount. It's easier for you to, kind of easier for me to use a bowl or a measuring bowl, a taller one with a spout. However, in this case, I'm making a small amount. I'm literally making only 2 tubes of lip gloss. This scale, it just takes a bit longer to get to the correct measurements, and it throws everything off, right? As a result, I transferred everything from my bowl to a mini beaker and then used my mini scale so I can get more accurate reading. This was very important, especially when I'm using the preservatives. Too much preservatives will make it a bit irritating for your lips, and your lips are very sensitive. So that's why this was very important, since I was making a small amount. The next item I'm going to add is my avocado oil. So I'm adding avocado oil to this lip gloss because of its hydrating properties, and I have used it before. Like when I originally did this, it was just one oil, and I said, you know what, let me go ahead and mix it in, because I also use this oil for sometimes my body butters in the winter time and for my body scrubs, and I really like how it feels. So I felt like if you have really dry lips, then avocado would be a perfect oil to add into your lip gloss to have that little hydrating feeling, and it has a little gloss to it to add to that glossy effect that we like to have in our lip gloss. The next oil I'm going to add to this is my jojoba oil. We're adding in jojoba oil because it has great benefits for your lip. One, it protects your lips from harsh weather. It also helps to keep your lips very soft and supple. That's one of the main reason why I add it in there. So with all those benefits together, I had to add this in to my lip gloss. The next item I'm going to add in is my flavor oil. I'm adding in my flavor oil at 1%. I'm using Get Suckered passion fruit flavor oil because it is not too light and it's also not too powerful, so it's just right and just enough for what I needed in this formulation. Next, I'm going to be adding in my preservatives at 0.1%. This preservative is my preservative that I get from TKB. This is what I've always used in my lip gloss, and it is the TKB Cap 2 preservative. I use it at 0.1% because if you end up using too much, it might irritate your lips. I also want to note that the usage rate for lip products is 0.8 to 1%. However, I did try 0.8% and it was a bit tingly on my lips. So I'm not sure if I just have sensitive lips, but it was a bit much for me. As a result, I decided to bring it down to 0.2%. I brought it down to 0.2% and it was okay, but I still felt a little bit of tingling, and then I went to 0.1%. When I did 0.1%, that's when the tingling went away. Now, I'm saying this because you can test it out for you and see if the 0.8% works and if it's still tingly, and if not, you can bring it down a little bit to see which one works for you best. You have to make sure whatever preservative you use, you look at the usage rate before you even decide to add it into your formulation, and test it out first. Like add some in there based on the usage rates, test it out. If it's too much, take some out and put a little bit less, so that way you won't have that much irritation. I then added in my vitamin E oil. I added in my vitamin E oil at about 0.1%, only because I wanted it to use it to help with the shelf life of my oils that I added to the product. So I decided to add in my vitamin E oil. The next item I'm adding is my Polysorbutene. Now this is the ingredient that is going to make your lip gloss shine. This is what gives it that glossy look. This is what does it. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this in to give it a bit more extra shine compared to what it had before, without it. This ingredient is very sticky and very clumpy. I'll say it's very sticky. So this is where one of my little stirring rods, my little stainless steel stirring rods or just utensils comes in handy, because I can quickly scoop it up and add it into my beaker, and I'm able to mix it around without too much mess and without adding too much, because it's such a small amount, you don't want to go over your measurement or below. So it's important that you take that into consideration if you decide to make this. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and start to combine the ingredients. So what I'm using is a bit of one of my sterling silver stirring rods. I will link this below because it makes it so much easier to use. They're easier to clean, just easier for me to scoop up the lip gloss in, you know, small areas, or especially for in this case where I'm making such a small amount, it works for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir it, and as you can see from the image here, you can see the consistency of the lip gloss so far, and you can see it has a nice, not too loose but also not too thick consistency. Now that we've completed combining all our ingredients, we're going to go ahead and put these ingredients into our syringe. So the syringe is the item we're going to use to insert all our liquids into our tubes, well, all our lip gloss into our tubes. We are using the syringe because it is a bit harder to just pour your lip gloss into the tubes, because as you know, the tubes has very small openings. It's not very wide, so you can't get your items in, you can't get your formulation in because of the consistency of the formulation, and trying to put that into the tube without a syringe will create nothing but a large mess. So you have a few different ways that you can do this. You can do the way that you have seen, I'm pretty sure you have seen online, where they use a syringe and suck up the lip gloss into the syringe and then push it out. I don't find that very productive. Like, it doesn't work for me. So what I do is I take the top part of the syringe off, scoop all of my lip gloss formulation that I created inside of the syringe, and then I proceed to push it into my lip gloss tubes. Now, one thing I wanted to point out to mention was the end of the syringe. The end of the syringe, we're going to go ahead and cut a pipette, and we're going to put it at the end of the syringe. We're going to do this because it is easier to get to the bottom of the tube by using that pipette to go all the way to the bottom. Without the pipette, the end of the syringe will not make it to the bottom, and then you basically only fill like the middle of the tube because of the consistency of the lip gloss. Now, if the lip gloss was thinner like a lip oil, then you could just pour it in and you'll still use the syringe, but you probably won't even have to add the pipette because it's going to fill it up anyways. And as you can see here, it is lightweight, it is shiny, it is glossy, and it feels nice on my lips. So let me know what you think below. If you try this, let me know if you liked it or not. If you enjoyed this video and you found anything in this video useful, definitely check out my video, one of my other videos, or check out my playlist as well. If not, and you just appreciate the information, then you can like this or just leave a comment below and say thank you. Have a great day. Oh, also all my links of the things that I use that I could find will be linked in the description box.